This was the year I did a lot of things, not just wishing or planning, but the year where I actually went and did the thing. I did my Sheridan portfolio, I did my Seneca portfolio, I got into school, I made animations, I finished not only the first chapter of my manga, that took me 4 years to finish, but I also went and finished the second chapter as well. Then I started selling my art and boothing, I made merchandise and sold it, I started actively working on my YouTube channel, I made friends, continued working a part-time job, and finally I planned my own vacation with my sister. There's never been a year I felt luckier than 2024. Not only did I get into Anime North in February the first time I applied, I also got in the second time I applied. And then I won the lottery for the early entry ticket at Comiket for the day I wanted. And then I even managed to get not one, but two limited Shikashi art boards by two different artists that I like. It was even nice that the weather was so pleasant in Tokyo, and that both our flights were on time and relatively painless. Interestingly enough, the first day we spent in Tokyo, we visited a shrine and both our Omikuji fortunes said great luck. Even though it wasn't on New Year's Day, I wanted to experience it at least once because I didn't think we'd have enough time to visit a shrine on that day, which we didn't. So I decided I didn't need to see my fortune for 2025, and I'd rather not know. Then comes the morning and I drop my phone at 7-Eleven, which shatters the back of my phone, case and all. So I think that tells you how my luck's gonna be this year. Work hard, stay humble. It's not like there hasn't been some bad days here and there, frustrations with my job, stressful situations with school, or even making deadlines, driving. I fell ill at least twice. I didn't get into Sheridan either, but who knows, maybe it was better that way. And I also regret buying the Cricut machine because it was more of a hassle to get it working than to find a manufacturer. But I guess most of my artists' alley woes are less about luck and more about bad business decisions. I spent a lot of money, but I earned a lot of money. I bought furniture, bought books to fill up the shelves, and I finally bought a real microphone, which you're hearing right now. But I'm also proud of how hard I worked in 2024. Back to back, it was event after event. I worked on the college portfolios, then immediately started working on Anime North, designing and manufacturing goods. Then immediately after I went to work on my manga, made some new YouTube videos, school started, I joined the 24 Hours Animation Challenge, went to see Moulin Rouge and the Royal Winter Fair both for the first time, I boofed at Toronto Game Expo, finished first semester with good grades, and then went on a trip for the first time in 11 years. Obviously, a lot of the things I achieved this year are only the beginning of everything, but I think the hardest part of doing anything is always starting. Now that I've started boothing at conventions, I have the foundation and the machines ready to keep going. Starting my manga and figuring out the workflow, it'll only get easier from here. And of course, with starting school, I'm kind of rebooting my life and career goals. If there was one thing that kept me going throughout this timeline, it was YouTube. Okay, at this point I'm a nobody, so it feels weird to name drop famous YouTubers as if I've achieved any sort of success, but there was one specific YouTuber that I've been following over the past 2 years, and I can't deny they've really had an impact on my life. Now, I've never been a YouTube kid, I'm a weeb, and Nico Nico Dogo was where it was at. But when the pandemic happened and I was losing interest in all my passions, I started getting into YouTube and discovering this new landscape of content creators. Since I was still into gaming, I watched a lot of gaming YouTubers. It was also during a time when I was writing rants and reviews about my favorite games and anime, and was leaning towards YouTube to make these rants into videos. By 2023, which was when I decided to get into animation, I sort of rediscovered Jaden Animations and got really invested in the Storytime animator scene, despite how late I was to the party. But if there was one YouTuber that I was constantly looking forward to, it was Alpharad. If you don't know already, Alpharad's a gaming channel that plays mostly Nintendo and Pokemon games, and his content is often hilarious and well scripted. But funnily enough, the first video that made me start following Alpharad was his video riding every Disneyland ride in one day. I think it was from there that I really appreciated his script writing and editing. And as I fell into this weird parasocial rabbit hole, I was watching all his VODs and getting a Twitch account to catch all his streams. Luckily, I haven't been fallen deep enough into dangerous territories, but keeping up with Alpharad's streams has given me small pockets of joy every now and then, and it keeps me entertained as I'm doing homework or drawing. I'm pretty sensitive to sound, so there aren't a lot of YouTubers I can enjoy by voice alone, but even listening to an Alpharad VOD or stream is really pleasant. I think what makes watching Alpharad videos so enjoyable for me is that I never think about it as work, or some sort of inspiration I have to study from, and even feel somewhat jealous that I can't make anything as great as some of these people. But Alpharad is just entertainment. It's just a guy talking and playing games, and that works for me. So with that being said, on my channel, I still have a ton of videos I want to upload eventually. I literally have 45 scripts in my folder that are all incomplete. Since I'm now in school, it's becoming more difficult to even have the time to do all the things that I wanted to do. I really don't know how some people can do anything else while studying at school. Like, I'm really glad I was able to finish a chapter of my manga and booth at one single con, all while still working. But man, that was a lot of work. As for immediate goals, I definitely wanted to post this video as just a, hey, this channel isn't dead kind of thing. But I also want to finish the Anime North videos that I plan to do. I actually had the second video recorded, but I thought I could reword some things, which would require me to re-record, which ultimately led me to stop working on the project. Even this video was going to have a section about anime of 2024, but I had so much to say, I decided to make it a separate video. But once I make a separate video, it'll take months for it to come out, so sorry about that. And of course, I'll eventually make a video about my first time going to Comic Cat and my Tokyo trip. And somewhere down the line, I really wanted to talk about One Piece, now that the anime is on hiatus, cause man, I have things to say. I also want to continue my manga, and I kinda wanted to make a video on my process when I made the first chapter, cause it was a long struggle, and I think people might be interested to see how to get started if they're interested as well. I noticed that I got a lot of subscribers from the shared and portfolio videos, so I'm kind of assuming that y'all are either my classmates or people interested in art stuff. My videos so far haven't really followed a specific genre or field, so I'm glad that people are still willing to follow me regardless. So yeah, everything I did last year was essentially work, but very productive. It's the effort and time I had to put in to manage my career, my finances, and my personal projects. Then ending the year on a shopping trip in Japan feels like the cherry on top. And in 2025, we're playing it all back again, cause I'll be back at Anime North and attending another big convention out of the country. So here's to another year of existing.